Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of the Ratliff Mandolins weekly production diary. My name is Audie Ratliff and I'm going to share with you all of the things that has happened this week around the Ratliff Mandolins workshop and give you an update on our progress on the batch of 10 mandolins that we're working on. First thing I guess I'll tell you is that last week we got in some Rubner tuners for some of the mandolins on this in this batch. Some of them were custom ordered with Rubner tuners, and so those tuners have come in, snake wood, and one of them has some ebony buttons. Really nice tuners, I like them. Showed up this last week, and this week we got a shipment of James tail pieces. They come in. Some of these mandolins as well are going to have James tail pieces, and I actually ordered more than the batch needs just so I could have some here. So we got that done. Now, as far as work on the batch itself, let's go in here and I'll show you that we got all of the binding on the back of mandolin number 7. Come on, I'll show you. So here we have mandolin number 7. If you recall from last week's episode, we wrapped the inner black, white, black strip last week, glued it all into place, and this week we started on the white outer binding, glued it a piece at a time until we have all the way down to the final closure piece, which is the piece around the heel button, and that I glued this morning, and some final cleanup and sanding, and this mandolin will be ready to move on to the next stage of construction. So that's mandolin number 7. Now, also this week, I started working on some of the things that has to be done before the fretboards are ready to be glued on these mandolins. And number 1 is to make the fretboard extenders. The fretboard extender is this little piece of wood that glues on right here, and the fretboard glues down on top of it. And this kind of keeps the fretboard elevated and supported as it passes over the top of the body. So, I have to make these things, fit them to each individual mandolin, and make sure that they fit all nice and pretty underneath the fretboard. Now, this one is actually the one that's going to go with mandolin number 2, I think, in this fretboard. This is mandolin number 1, which is a country boy A style, and it has the fretboard extender glued on. The truss rod has been installed and covered over. The fretboard is ready, so we are going to, before the close of the day, in fact right now, I'm going to glue this fretboard on this mandolin, and we'll take some footage of that and you can watch. Now, for those of you who have been following the Ratliff Mandolins weekly production diary for some time, you will have seen this machine or this jig in use before. It's the jig that we used to glue on mandolin fretboards with. I designed it and built it probably 4 or 5 years ago, and with the help of my friend Steve Patton, it's all welded steel, and the ugly welds are mine and the pretty welds are Steve's, so they're pretty easy to spot the difference. And Steve helped me weld it up. It's got 3 main poles to sit on, and then this framework here with all these screw parts, and basically the mandolin fits in upside down like this. When the fretboard will slip in there first, the glue will be spread, slip in there like this, and Then these screws right here will bring pressure down, hold everything tight, and these things right here will keep the fretboard from slipping side to side. And that's kind of how this thing works. So we're going to glue this fretboard right now onto this mandolin. Like I said earlier, it's mandolin number 1 in the batch. So let's spread glue and put it together. Okay, everything's ready. First thing I'm going to do is just put a little water on this ebony. Kind of keep everything nice and moist. Spread glue. My high-tech glue spreader here. And we're good to go. Let's go to the gluing jig. And there you have it. Everything is lined up in place where it's supposed to be. All we need to do is just clean off the excess glue and let it dry. We are good with gluing the fretboard on the first mandolin in this batch, and that would be mandolin number 1. Now, another thing I got done this week, as you saw a moment ago, was this fretboard extender has been carved, made, finished on the bottom, done, and fit on this mandolin here, which is mandolin number 2. And that would be the first of the R5 master models in this batch, mandolin number 2. So right now I'm going to glue this fretboard extender on in preparation for maybe Monday or whenever I get a chance of gluing the fretboard on this jig on mandolin number 2. So right now we're going to glue this fretboard extender on this mandolin. And I do that by using this jig, which is actually the same jig that I use to put the mandolin in to fret the things. I'll lock it in here. And then I will have prop bar sticks that I will glue and clamp this thing down. So it's just a matter of spreading some glue and doing that very thing. So there you have it. This fretboard extender is glued on and ready for now the mandolin is ready for the truss rod to be installed, and then of course fretboard is going to be installed. So we look forward to all that next week. Looks good. So as you can see, there was some fairly significant things done in the shop this week. Not as much as I would like to have. I will mention that it was also a busy week outside of the shop. I had a doctor's checkup and a trip to the bank for some family business, a trip to a lawyer for some family business, a couple of trips to town for various things, and I run out of super glue and had to have some, and so just kind of a lot of interruptions this week, but nevertheless we've got quite a bit done. So so there you have that. Check back with us next week for the next episode of the Ratliff Mandolins weekly production diary. Thank you so very much for watching. Tell all your friends and all like that. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done that. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.